Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to New Deck Profile. In this one, I would like to take a look at a Dondozo deck in Expanded. So Dondozo Tatsugiri is one of those decks that I personally have really enjoyed in the Pokemon TCG. However, it's a very different story in Standard, right? Because the thing is with Dondozo is I just don't feel like you're doing quite enough damage for it to compete. And at the end of the day, you're sort of just a worse cloth in a sense, which is a wee bit of a shame. Also, just like a slightly worse United Wings. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But honestly, I've just not had a lot of luck with Dondozo in Standard. I'm aware that a lot of other players have had a lot of luck in Standard, so that's cool. There's plenty of like standard deck profiles out there if you want a standard list. But Dondozo is honestly so much better in Expanded just because it's way more consistent. And one of the things with Dondozo in Standard is the fact that your attack cost is double colorless, which wouldn't be so bad because, of course, we have things like double turbo energy. However, that also reduces your attack damage by -20, so you're only doing 180 instead of the full 200, which is a bit of a shame. However, in Expanded, you get to play double colorless energy, which just provides 2 colors, very simple. And you also get to play 4 copies of Twin Energy, which basically also provides double colorless for Pokemon that don't have a rule box, basically. So yeah, 4 Twin Energy, 4 double colorless, effectively just 8 energy that we can attach. So yeah, that is Dondozo in a nutshell and why it's just so much better and expanded. So yeah, we have Dondozo with the attack Release Rage that does 50 damage for each Tatsugiri in your discard pile. And to be honest, I don't think it matters too much which Tatsugiri you play, but of course it's just an uncommon at the end of the day. So, it shouldn't be too expensive to shell out for 4 of these Tatsugiris. But it does have the ability to attract customers, which says once in your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may look at the top 6 cards of your deck, reveal a supporter card you find there, and put it into your hand, and then shuffle the other cards back into your deck. So what's really nice with this deck is that if we can open with Tatsugiri, then we can basically just say, we get to use attract customers, and then we hopefully get at least one more turn of attract customers. But if our opponent KOs Tatsugiri, it's no biggie because, of course, we just want more Tatsugiris in the discard pile. Another way that we can also get Tatsugiris in the discard pile is with, I've scrolled past it, haven't I? Yes, I have. Brilliant Blender, which allows you to search your deck for up to 5 cards and discard them. So typically you'll want to get all 4 Tatsugiri and just discard them. And also just an additional card that you probably won't need, e.g. like another Air Balloon, for example, maybe a Pokégear, something like that. So, just a very powerful ace spec of choice, and it just means that you have a really consistent way of basically just getting, Tatsugiris in the discard pile. I did try and make this particular build work in Standard with Brilliant Blender and the new Tatsugiri, but to be honest, I just felt the deck wasn't doing enough damage to compete in Standard. And it just, even with double turbo, it just wasn't enough. So yeah, a bit of a shame, but I've slightly modified it. So I'm playing Manaphy. There is a Mew that you can also play in Expanded. I'll just see if I own a copy. Mew is sort of like an alternative to Manaphy if you want to run it. Okay, so I don't have a Mew. That's surprising. I thought I did. Wait, not owned? I really thought I owned a Mew. That's weird. Okay, so yeah, bench barrier. So this one basically just says prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon by your opponent's attacks. So it's basically just Manaphy with 10 HP less, but it also has a pretty good attack in the form of Psy Power, which can clean up some Pokemon. So you can play Mew, in Psychic decks, Mew is definitely better. But for a Water deck already playing Irida, I just felt like Manaphy was kind of worth it. So yeah, playing Manaphy. Also got Fezandipiti, which isn't the cheapest option, but then again, I doubt players are, looking to build Dondozo Tatsugiri IRL for Expanded. But, at that point, there's, way better lists you can play. You can also play, like, XY cards like Battle Compressor, so, like, the entire list has to be revised at that point. But yeah, as for, like, regular Expanded on TCG Live, Fezandipiti is a pretty cheap card, coming in at just, wait, how many credits are to craft these? It's like 600? Yeah, 600 credits. I mean, that's not a lot. You can see I've been spending way too many credits as of late. I need to start saving up for the next set. But yeah, 600 credits, not too bad at all. Also got Radiant Greninja to act as a bit of draw power. Now, we only play 8 energy in this deck, so it's, kind of important that you keep at least 4 or 5 back, just so you can attack enough times to win the game. But yeah, Radiant Greninja, still a very nice option, especially with Irida. Also playing this Oranguru, which a few of you might not be familiar with. has the ability Instruct, which says once in your turn, you may draw cards until you have 3 cards in your hand. Basically just a Mew EX, like slightly cheaper. Also, Mew EX is very fragile, coming in at only like 108 HP, I believe. Does also have free retreat, which is nice, and a really good attack, genome hacking. But Oranguru is honestly a single prize Pokemon, and I kind of prefer that in this deck. Like, I'm trying to lean into the single prize aspect more than the multi prize aspect. You know, we do have things like Fezandipiti, but you do not need to bench Fezandipiti if you get set up well and you don't need it. So, yeah, you know, Oranguru is just nice here for a single prize option. Also got a tool card called Air Balloon in the list that reduces your retreat cost by -2. So Oranguru can be given free retreat if necessary. Also got a Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, which is kind of nice. Has the ability Seasonal Skill. Bloodmoon used by this Pokemon costs 1 colorless less for each prize card your opponent's taken. And then Bloodmoon for 5 colorless does 240, and during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. So just a nice late game attacker that can swing for a bit more damage. There's honestly one slight error with this list that I've literally just noticed, and that's that you don't have to play regular Switch. You can play Switching Cart, which is basically just Switch in this deck, but plus heal 30. So you may as well play it. Like, I doubt you'll need to heal 30 damage from a Pokemon, but just in case you do, that is technically the optimal card. For Irida, though, is like the big one. Search your deck for a water Pokemon and an item. So, aka just get a Dondozo and a Brilliant Blender. Like, that's the optimal Irida play, really, for this deck. Also got a Defiance Band because, like, it gets really awkward having to play things like Choice Belt and Choice Band for Expanded. So I just run Defiance Band with the belief that I'll be going behind on prizes anyhow. I mean, this deck does actually one-shot a lot of GX Pokemon, but, you know, some players are, of course, wise enough not to play GXs in Expanded now because, you know, they don't have a lot of HP. But, you know, if you want to, you can one-shot GX Pokemon. Also got a Shrine of Punishment here just to, like, troll GX decks a wee bit more. But, you know, just an extra damage counter between turns can be quite nice. Also playing a Night Stretcher, Counter Catcher, Super Odd, like general supporters and trainers that you've probably seen before in Standard. Some of the more unique cards in the deck, like Giovanni's Charisma. Put an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon into their hand. If you do, attach an energy card from your hand to your active Pokemon. So a bit of disruption. Is it like the best card in the world? Absolutely not, but I really want to play Giovanni's Charisma in something. Aside from like Gengar EX, it's not really a deck for this card, so thought it'd be fun to try out for a bit. Also got Calamitous Snowy Mountain. This is a bit of an interesting one, but it basically says whenever any player attaches an energy card from their hand to one of their basic non-water Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So you will actually put 2 damage counters if you have to attach, you know, a double colorless to Oranguru or Fezandipiti, but honestly, 2 damage counters here and there on your opponent's side of the field is quite nice. So yeah, I do like the plus 20 damage. We've got things like Energy Loto over Earthen Vessel just to find our special energy cards, which is nice. Also got the item card Acro Bike, which says look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand and discard the other card, which can be used as another way of discarding Tatsugiris, especially if we end up prizing Brilliant Blender. But yeah, that's the deck list. Let me know what you think down below. Do you think you'd be giving Dondozo Tatsugiri a fair shot and Expanded? And hopefully we get either a huge buff for this deck in Standard, you know, like a double colorless that modifies damage, or, you know, maybe even a Dondozo EX that does more damage for each Dondozo and Tatsugiri in the discard pile. But yeah, this has been Iono Power, and yeah, thank you for watching. Probably take Defiance Band here, to be honest. And then what we want to try and do is, if we can, get a KO with Dondozo on this Radiant Greninja. I think that would put us in a pretty good spot. So yeah, I will Acro Bike, and we could take Iono, but I'll just take Acro Bike for now. Although, actually, I will take Iono, just in case we have to use it. But if possible, what I would really like to do is Irida for a Brilliant Blender. That would be really good. Sadly, we don't hit anything, which is a massive rip. But I will put an Air Balloon on Tatsugiri. I will put a Twin Energy on Dondozo. Do not need Bloodmoon Ursaluna in this matchup, just because Bloodmoon with a Defiance Band does one-shot Cerulou GX, rather. But it's just not really that efficient, so don't really need it. And sadly, we don't have any Tatsugiri in the discard pile, so it's just no point in switching out. So we're kind of just forcing our opponent here to boss around Tatsugiri, which they can do, in all fairness. And we see a Salandit, so I'm guessing this is the Salazzle, which says discard Fire Energy to draw 3 cards, so that's pretty cool. Good for them at least. And then Saralu GX comes down. Concealed cards for another energy. Doesn't matter how many energy they bin, by the way, like they're still just going to be doing so much damage. Like losing Town Store is a bit of a rip, I guess, but we don't really need it, truth be told. We sort of have what we need as well. Like we have 2 Dondozo. We ideally just need a few more Dondozo eventually. They do play a Jock, which is kind of cool. Getting Salazzle and Saruj, I guess. Didn't quite see. So Abyssal Flame. They do KO Tatsugiri here, which is absolutely fine. I would have thought they maybe wanted to wait for a boss's orders, but I guess they don't want us to boss around, so fair enough. We also lose a bit of draw power in the form of Tatsugiri, so I guess it makes sense. And then what I'm just going to do here is actually Calamity Snowy Mountain disrupts them a little bit, so we'll get that down. It doesn't make too much of a difference because we're already doing so much damage in this matchup, but I think it's alright. We'll Arven for a Brilliant Blender, and I guess I'll take the Air Balloon out of the deck, just to thin out a bit. And then what we want to do really is just draw something useful off these prize cards. So Brilliant Blender. Discard 3 Tatsugiri. Probably Fezandipiti as well, actually. Well, we definitely don't need Bloodmoon, so I'll discard Bloodmoon. Manaphy might be useful just in case they play... Okay, the opponent is conceded. Fair enough. Yeah, fair dues. Like, start one-shotting them. Yeah, they can't compete. But yeah, Fezandipiti would have been corrected to discard there as well. So yeah, made the right choices, I feel like.